All right, so my name is Tom Kulish. I'm the chief architect here at ClearEdge, and I'm going to talk to you about drawing trees like Bob Ross using procedural generation, or at least my attempt at doing that. So this should be a fun presentation as it moves forward. So Bob Ross, everybody knows who Bob Ross is. Usually it's the hair. There's also some cool quotes he has here. So nothing wrong with having a tree as a friend. We don't make mistakes, just happy accidents, and let's go crazy. So I kind of went a little crazy in the last couple of weeks building this. The second thing on the title side, procedural generation, just in case you want to know what that is, it's creating data algorithmically as opposed to manually. Very basic definition, but you're going to kind of see exactly where I was going with this. So what happens if Bob Ross turned into developer Dan? What would happen? So Dan would say, I have a script for that. And I said, my master thesis was focused on computer graphics. And then he'd be like, that's fair enough. So let's see how developer Dan would make trees. Secondly, next I want to talk to you about what procedural generation is. Here's a little video of what it actually happens. I didn't do this one. But this is coming from a tool from Unreal to do it automatically, building terrain. What my motivation was, just in general, is it's actually gaming. No Man's Sky came out like 5 years ago, and they're like, we use procedural generation to build 16 quintillion planets. And I'm like, whoa, how did you do that? So I was like, well, let me try to do it myself. And I like Bob Ross, and I like trees, so let's do it. And then I was like, well, how can I do this real quick without spending hours and hours? There's this thing called Unreal Engine. So I use that, and then there's a little help wiki, did that. And it drove me into a couple things. First, it's like, well, what is a mesh? So a mesh is a static piece of geometry. It's triangles, it's polygons, and there's like a little bit of code on how you would do this in C++ and how you would actually build that mesh statically, like just drawing it. Then I learned, like, what is a procedural mesh? And then, well, okay, I want to be able to create those polygons, but I want to do it at modified or runtime. Modifying or creating at runtime. And there's a whole bunch of more variables that get created for that, that get sent in. So the next thing I was thinking was, I'm not going to write a bunch of C++ for this. So Unreal Engine has a way to make time is money, and they have this thing called blueprints. If you ever use NiFi, it's kind of like that. It's C++ programming, but with NiFi. So here's a picture of it. So what you do is, I created that triangle. That's my triangle. Exactly. You pass in a vertex, you pass in a bunch of vertex. Linear algebra, if anybody's done that, it's a bunch of different things. You pass that into a procedural mesh, and it generates it. The next thing is, I need to move past triangles. So you go from triangles, you go to squares, and then you go to cones. But now I need more variables, I need to build more vectors. You build out this little flow chart. I'm not going to step through this because we only got 5 minutes. And you build that thing right there. It's a bunch of triangles, it's a wall. It's a wall of triangles. And then with Unreal Engine, you can just turn it and make a cone. And when you make a cone, you actually have the basis of a tree here, right? So, and that tree, the basis of a tree is called a trunk. So what I'm going to do here is, to build a tree, you actually start with this parent object, and you build them. A trunk is a separate object, a branch is a separate object, and a leaf is a separate object. Again, I'm just trying this myself. So this is my first attempt at building a branch. Look, it's a branch, right? Sorry, it's a trunk. That is a trunk. I sent in a random seed. And this gets procedurally generated. I'm not drawing this. This is just the computer generating it. And then everything kind of fell off the rails after this. So then I built some branches, and they're just kind of swinging around the tree. They're not connected to the tree in any fashion. I don't know what I did wrong. I'm definitely not, well, developer Dan probably would have done better. But this was not good. But you pass in a couple more variables. And then I added leaves to this, and it just kind of surrounded. It's on the branches, but it surrounded the tree. So again, you guys see, look, there's actually leaves involved in this process. I'm eventually going to show you what it actually should look like, because they actually have already built artifacts using procedural generation. These are 4 different trees, a pine tree, and a couple other birch trees. I think I even have a palm tree here. These are already generated procedurally, done by real people who know what they're doing, and you just drop it in. But with procedural generation, there's a lot of different things you can do with it. Anything from simulating artificial life, dungeon generation, weather simulation, a lot of ML algorithms that get involved in this as well, spanning trees and genetic algorithms and NLP. But really, I'd just like to thank you all and thank Bob, and just really want to thank Developer Dan for this wonderful lecture.